Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Cinema Sitdown. My name is Dom, and I'm a Commercial and Business Development Manager here at Gruvi's branch in Perth, Australia. It's always a privilege to highlight members of the Gruvi team and their wealth of experience in the cinema industry. And today I'm joined by Lee Shelton, the former head of digital marketing and subsequently digital projects at Curzon, one of the leading independent cinema chains in the UK. Lee is now the Global Director of Exhibition Strategy and Development at Gruvi, and his key goal is to grow and innovate in the cinema industry through data-driven digital advertising. Lee, I know we've talked a lot, but thank you so much for joining me today and joining us on the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Dom.
So obviously, we want to dive into your experience in the cinema industry and obviously your decades actually working directly for a cinema. But I guess sort of a big question to start off is, what do you think is the biggest challenge facing the cinema industry today?
Well, I think cinema is facing a huge number of challenges. And look, I think anybody listening to this is very aware of those challenges. We've had challenges this year around content. We have a constant conversation about piracy, obviously, and competitors, especially in the world of streaming. But if we focus on the area that Gruvi specialize in, that's digital advertising, I think it's about delivering an experience. It goes to this wider picture that every exhibitor is trying to build around experience. How do you, as a cinema, as an exhibitor, convince a customer to come to you over the myriad of other options that are available?
And do you think innovation plays a big part in how cinemas can attract audiences, both new audiences and returning audiences?
I do, of course. Yes. I think, again, when it comes to things like innovation, it's very, very easy for us to say we want to see bigger, louder, better, all of those things. But that's not necessarily right for everybody. I think the best innovators are the ones who have a real sense of who they are as a brand. And in terms of that digital advertising, I mean, that's a huge area of innovation. I think we're only just starting to scratch the surface, if I can use that expression, in terms of what is possible between the exhibitors that we work with and the distributors, the studios. We've talked a lot about collaboration over the years in our industry, and I think everybody is behind the idea and everybody understands the importance of it. I think now is the time that it's just really starting to come about. So that idea of utilizing data more effectively to reach the right audiences for a collective benefit is where, from our perspective, again, there's a huge amount of potential in terms of innovation.
I mean, you've sort of perfectly segued into the next question I wanted to ask. Why do you think it's important for studios and distributors and exhibitors to work together when it comes to digital advertising?
Well, I think it's something that we've been talking about for so long now. What we've seen over the past 12 months at Gruvi is how improved partnerships can really drive enhanced return. We've seen studios and distributors growing confidence in terms of their investment when they see the data on how impactful their campaigns can be right at the e-commerce end, right at the ticket buying online end. And that confidence in the studios and the distributors is leading to more investment in the exhibitors. So we're starting to create this perfect circle where everybody, or what we're trying to create is this perfect circle where everybody is working together with Gruvi driving the campaigns and everybody having a view and a say in what is happening to actually drive the customers to buying tickets.
In terms of like that increase in both investment and collaboration, how much do you think of that should be invested into trying to bring in return audiences versus maybe trying to get new audiences in, especially in the time where there's more competition out there, both in terms of the cinema industry, but also in terms of like, ways of watching films and actually accessing media. Do you think that's a question that is important for cinemas to ask themselves?
I do. I mean, there has to be a balance. You have to think about a balance between trying to attract new customers and, converting existing ones and turning them into return customers. I mean, that is one of the oldest marketing adages in the book, right? Is that repeat customers cost less than new ones. So everybody has to focus on the growth of new audiences, and we spend a lot of time, again, as an industry, talking about how we can engage especially younger audiences and how we can nurture those younger audiences to become regular customers. So I think that's an absolute given, and I think that it's something that every marketer needs to focus on, is finding that balance between making sure that you have investment available to try and test, to try and prospect, to try new things, to try and utilize what it is about your brand and what it is about your experience with creative on channels that will appeal to the kinds of audience demographics or the kinds of people that you want to attract as new customers, and balance that with making sure that you're front of mind with your existing customers who know your brand and understand, and they are seeing what is coming up in terms of the program. They're seeing what is coming up in terms of offers and reasons why they should come back. So I haven't got a perfect answer for that. What is the balance? What is the split in investment? I don't think there is any one answer to that question, but it's incredibly important in any area of marketing, and something that we absolutely advise on with all of our clients at a very early stage in the process.
So from your perspective, Lee, like, where do you think the future lies for cinema and, I guess, film advertising in general? And maybe even just from your personal experience, what's the one innovation that you would like to see in the cinema industry?
So I think where the future lies is with collaboration in the immediate term, and then very much in the long term. What I want to see personally is more studios and distributors working more closely with the range of exhibitors out there, and we're trying to find ways in various different areas, in various different markets, that we can bring in exhibitors at all levels to that kind of conversation. So in this kind of conversation, the ticketing providers, the website providers, they're all important, and we're looking at ways that we can kind of bring the wider industry together, so that we can find, like I said before, find those pathways in order to create a bigger pie for everybody.
Lee, to end off, I am curious, and I know you're located in the UK, we're over here in Australia, in Perth, so this is a question I have to ask. What is your favorite Australian film?
My favorite Australian film, I think by quite a long way, is The Castle, and it's not available over here, so that's something that you can get hold of it for me. But it is one of those beautiful David v Goliath stories that I really resonate with. It is genuinely funny. I mean, I can comp it to lots of films, but there's also lots of TV series in the UK that I have absolutely loved, that it's kind of in the same bracket as those, I think. So things like Early Doors and The Royal Family, if you know those kind of things, which is just about a group of people who sit in one room in a pub just talking about their lives, and it's kind of it's got that sort of similar vibe to it.
Well, I think we can wrap it up there, so you can go off and rewatch The Castle.
Well, like I said, if only.
Well, when you're over here, we'll get you a copy.
You'll have
Or if
to
there's
sort
any
that out.
distributors listening, there's an untapped market in the UK. Clearly, there's at least one dedicated person who will buy a copy.
I absolutely will. And you know what? It was recommended to me by a friend about 10 or 15 years ago. So there's two over here at least. But I'm sure
And the word of mouth will spread, as I'm sure.
Absolutely.
So, Lee, thanks so much for joining me. I mean, it's been a pleasure. Obviously, we talk a lot, but it's always great to have your, opinion on things and to have a proper conversation. And thanks so much for joining me on the Cinema Sit Down.
No problem at all. Thank you for having me.
So that's all for us this week. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Cinema Sit Down.